Hey, what is up guys? Guitar Rock here, welcome back to another Brown Dust video. Alright, today we're gonna talk about the Legend Scrolls exclusive Dominus Octo, and since I've done a video of the recruitable one with ancient coins, you guys should check out that video. I'll try to link it in the description and in the top right corner right there. So this particular video, our focus is on the 4 Octos that cannot be obtained via the Legend coins, and that is Lucius, Levia, Valze, and Asmode. Alright, so let's have a look and talk about each of them individually. Alright, so first I'll cover Lucius and Levia. So Lucius, particularly if you want to know about his skills, it's very awesome. What makes him strong is this skill right here, the Death Guard. So basically after he resurrects, basically with a fixed quantity of HP, he will have this thing right here. So Death Guard meaning that he will be able to take 4 additional hits from any opponent after the resurrection. So you can see at the skill there, after resurrection. So this will prevent him from getting one-shotted most of the time. So he will be able to tank up at least 4 more hits from foes like Labia or triple buff warriors that deals fixed damage. He's one of the best tank that you can obtain in the game. Very good for PvP. In PvE though, it's quite situational. I would say if you're looking to focus in the campaign modes, Seer is better. So Seer shines in PvE the most. Maybe certain strategy you might be able to benefit from Lucius in the Evil Castle, but overall he's more of a PvP unit for sure. So this particular skill right here will only be unlocked at +3. So the strategy right here is to, if you have strong units built around Lucius that doesn't need legend skill books, then go ahead, pour skill books into Lucius. Otherwise, I wouldn't recommend pouring any legend skill books into him. Like, you might as well use it to build something like your Levia or Valfern or Mammonair if you have them. So this skill is good, enemy's current HP times 15% additional damage, and I believe you can crit as well. So if you do have this skill, maybe the Fatal and Rage Rune would be the best on him, but otherwise you could go with just 1 shield or 1 vital, or 2 shields or 2 vital runes. I would highly recommend going for 2 vital runes. That way you get to benefit the best of both worlds. You get to use him in the world boss, and you get to use him in the PvP as well. He's quite tanky, so he doesn't need the extra defense. The higher his HP, the more he will be able to heal from this particular skill right here, the Masochism as his awakening skill. Max HP times 36% instant healing. So that is quite awesome. But do keep in mind that Lucius does improve on his Death Guard all the way at +9. He will be able to receive 5 times the hit and +10 6 times. So yeah, just something to keep in mind. So far I don't think I've fought any +9 or +10 Lucius yet, but the keyword here is yet, because it's just a matter of time. Just a matter of time. Alright, so next up we're gonna have a look at Levia. So Levia, if you look at her skill, she has this skill which immunes to debuff skill type, and this skill right here receives healing from enemies' normal attack, so it's sort of a permanent masochism. And we have this skill called the Apply Curse. If you have a look at these 3 skills right here, like, it's exactly the same as Battery's one. Like, Battery has the exact same thing. So a permanent masochism, applies curse, and immune to debuff. So yeah, I'm not sure if you guys are aware of that. The only difference would be this particular skill, the first primary skill. So this skill deals fixed additional damage to the main target. So this is what makes Levia so good, is because of this skill right here. The main target's max HP times 200% additional damage. So this is really insane. Like, if you're fighting against a boss in Evil Castle, in the campaign mode, having Levia is a blast. Alright, it's going to make your life a lot more easier. In PvP, ideally you would want to +3 her. That's because this skill is not as strong, because it only deals the high amount of fixed damage to the main target. So the surrounding targets will only receive max HP times 75% additional damage. So most of the time they will still survive unless they are extremely low on HP. So yeah, you don't really need to improve her attack. She basically will deal a fixed amount of damage based on the opponent's HP. Basically, most of the time, she will one-shot the enemy unless they have Death Guard. So yeah, Levia might actually be one of the best mage in the game right now, unless she get nerfed to the ground. So if you have her, it's highly recommended to +3 her. That way you will be able to benefit from this skill right here. So mains targets max HP times 300%, and the surrounding one will get the 125% additional damage. So this way, any surrounding target within her target will actually die for sure, unless they have Death Guard. So the only counter to Levia is basically Lucius or Taunt. You can use Taunt like Seer to just direct the attacks away so that Levia will hit Seer instead. Obviously your Seer will get one-shotted, but at least you get to protect your main damage dealers in the center, or else this is going to be extremely damaging. So Levia is actually worth it to pour skill books into her. She's one of the few legends that actually scales pretty well. So you get more of those, and of course at +6, incoming damage minus 35%, and this one improves slightly as well. So at +9, this one improves even further. You get the enhancement nullifier, which removes stats boost, and at +10 you get this insane awesome amount of range. So Levia might be the only legendary that I would say is worth actually spending your skill books on, like all the way to +9 and then just buying the soul gear for +10. Like, it's definitely worth it to get like this range right here. This is insane. Imagine if you can cover the 9 tiles, everyone will die. Basically everyone will die. I've encountered a couple of +10 Levias before, which is why it's recommended for you to put your taunters, Seer, Aaron, whoever, at the most far rear corner, either on the top left or on the top right, so that way you won't be able to hit as many units as putting your taunters in the middle. So something to keep in mind. That's how you fight against the Levia. So most of the people will go for 2 shield runes because of this skill right here. She gets +65% defense. So this one 4 turns before normal attack. So that's very cool. You should immediately get rid of Levia when she charges up, not giving her enough time to have this. This is like 4 turns before she's going to hit you. So ideally you want to get rid of Levia as fast as you can, or as soon as you can. But this skill combined with this skill right here makes her extremely tanky, reduces stats and the incoming damage minus 65%. Definitely, she's a very good mage to have, one of the best in the game right now. Alright, so next up we have Valze. Alright, so this girl, very unique. I actually like her concept a lot. She has Death Guard as well, although her Death Guard is not as long lasting as Lucius one because it only lasts for 2 turns. Okay, but nevertheless it's still a good skill to have. So she has this skill which basically will have the bonus stats in crit rate and attack at later skill levels based on how much crit damage she has. So the more crit damage you can stack on her, the better it is. Ideally, you would want to give her at least 2 crit damage runes. So that's the key right here. So this skill, very cool, removes already applied buff skill type, it's a nullifier skill type. And then we have this skill right here, ignores enemies incoming damage reduction and deals additional damage. Alright, so attack times 100% additional damage. So this skill increases all the way, and at +3 you get the amount of damage by normal attack times 15%, 50% instant healing. The buff prohibition is very cool to have as well. So I wish Angelica would have this range right here. Extremely insane with the buff prohibition at +6. And then you have this going on even further. At +9 you get the bonus of attack as well as the crit rate. So very cool to have. She doesn't have any sort of immunity, so most of the time people will use supporters to try and buff as much of her and give her like stats boost, stats weakening immunity and things like that. But ideally, the lack of immunity on her is probably the best counter to her as well. Okay, so the last one we'll have a look at is Asmode. So Asmode, extremely strong. I used to think that this guy sucks, but actually the more I think of it, the more I think that he might actually be the strongest Octo amongst all of these. So the reason why is because he's a supporter type. That means he will be able to move and attack without taking up a turn. So she can easily chain with all the other supporters very easily. So how this skill works, if you guys don't understand, basically he will apply charm to himself and then he will go ahead and apply this debuff and this debuff on the opponent. So this one deals enemies current HP times percentage of additional damage. So that can be quite strong, especially if you build Asmode correctly. This skill right here is able to crit as well. So you can stack up a bunch of crit rate, crit damage. It's going to deal a ton of damage, insane amount of damage. So the Bloody Pillage is kind of cool as well. This is cool especially on defense. So you are able to pillage the opponent's buffs and apply it to himself. Very cool. So the stats weakening, this one is going to depend, but if you are moving first, obviously this is a cool thing to have. Definitely something which is kind of rare in the game. You don't see much defense reduction on a supporter. In fact, you don't see it at all. You only usually see it on most magicians. I know there's a bunch of 4-star magicians that can reduce opponent's defense. So yeah, this skill can make Asmode extremely tanky as well. So most people would say that if you really want him to shine, you need to at least +6 him. And I do agree to a certain extent, but I think at +5, +3 and +5, +4 and +5, he can be really strong already. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. So this support times percentage reduce incoming damage is definitely going to help him to tank up more damage, and it gives him heal as well, which is very cool. So yeah, there's a couple of ways you can build Asmode. He's quite flexible. I don't think you necessarily have to build him offensive. Like if you want to be annoying, you can just go for 2 shield runes and he can tank up pretty well. But most people would try to go for the Fatal and Rage rune combo because he has pretty high amount of crit rate, and stacking one more Fatal rune on him, you can easily get 75 to 80% crit rate, no problem. And then there's this crit damage bonus as well if you want to go offensive. So quite flexible. I would say if you want to benefit the most out from this particular skill, go for offensive. Fatal and Rage rune, highly recommended. But definitely he can work in certain defensive teams as well. So that is something that you can keep in mind. Alright guys, that's gonna be it for the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know which of the Dominus Octos do you guys think is the best currently right now in the meta. And let me know which of these legends are you planning to get next. I mean, it's kind of luck based, but hopefully, you know, hopefully some of us can get lucky. I only have Lucius so far. Hopefully I'll get lucky with either Levia, Valze, Asmode. Chances of getting them can be quite low, but we'll try. We'll keep on trying. I'll never give up. Alright guys, that's gonna be it for the video. Hope you enjoyed it, and if you do, subscribe to the channel, give this video a like, and I will see you guys in the next one. Have a nice day. Goodbye.